Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Sammy Lake here, representing TeamJVS, here to give you guys another movie review. This film is the film that everyone from every film festival, whether it's Toronto International Film Festival, whether it's New York Film Festival, whether it's Middleburg 2025, have been waiting for, talking about, and eagerly anticipating. I'm talking about No Other Choice. This is Park. This is his next insane film. Park Chan-wook, if you don't know, was the director of Old Boy, Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, Lady Vengeance, and the more recent 2022's one of my favorite films, which I thought was the best film, Decision to Leave. Matter of fact, he actually did a miniseries in The Sympathizer with, I think, Robert Downey Jr. as well. But with this film, the premise of it is you have a guy. It's played by Lee Byung-hun. If you've seen Squid Game, you know how much of an amazing actor he is. But Yo as a character is really got it all. Like, he's got a beautiful wife. He's got his home that he grew up in, 2 kids, 2 dogs. He is the man, right, of Solar Paper. Like, he's, I think, the 2019 Man of the Year or whatnot. All of a sudden, something happens, and everyone is looking for a brand new job. It looks like everything is going down the drain. And now he is trying his best to keep his house that he no longer can pay the mortgage on, trying to maintain his marriage, trying to uplift his kids, and at the same time, trying to figure out how can he get another job to be able to pay the things that he needs for the life that he has. And this other job is kind of similar to what he's already done. He's more than qualified, but unfortunately, he is going up against other people that he knows could easily get this position. So he hatches a scheme to try to take out the competition. Literally. So, right, I'm gonna let you guys know this movie is very violent. It is bloody. It is dark. It is very dark. And yet, very joyful, very vibrant, very family connected. So this is the thing. Manso as a character, he is a very complicated, layered character. And I think if you didn't have somebody like Lee playing this, I don't think it would land as well as it does. There are certain things that he just does, or is trying to do, or is trying to balance, and doesn't know whether or not it's the best path. And also things you don't know about his past. You are trying to connect the dots to make sure this man is not totally imploding within himself. And I think that Park understands how to dissect characters better than anybody else, even more so than the different levels of people's psychology and how desperate they can be to get what they actually want or need. Whether that bleeds over into the relationships that he has with his wife, or whether with his kids. One of his kids, I think, is either nonverbal or possibly autistic, and the way they kind of play her up is she's a prodigy, yet at the same time he doesn't have the finance to keep her maintaining what he needs. Then like the son, there are certain levels with the son where he's more connected with his mom because of certain circumstances. There's so many different layers, and there's other characters that have even more equal measure layers. And I think I haven't seen layers like this as far as certain characters since the movie Parasite, to be quite honest with you, because I didn't anticipate liking certain characters that I felt like were terrible people. I didn't anticipate not caring about certain deaths that happened. I think I started to become desensitized with some of the things that were happening because I'm starting to justify certain aspects of it in my mind. And I think that because and I think Park knew what he was doing when he wrote this and directed this. We've gone through a pandemic. We've all gone through a recession. We've all gone through different aspects where people do not or cannot maintain their livelihoods and their jobs, and what that actually means. How do you go within a marketplace to maintain your livelihood when there isn't anything around to figure out what that means? What would you do to protect your family? What links would you not go to do? And I think that this movie touches on that in a very harsh and specific way. And it's very complicated and it's very dark. And I think that the hard part about the sell for me to sell to you guys is that there's so much more equal measure violence and death and destruction and certain sensual things that are happening. Certain, like, there are, I think the thing, if you realize what kind of filmmaker you have, again, oh boy, again, Decision to Leave. Decision to Leave, I think, is a really good comparison, because Decision to Leave, it's a gray area of what's right, what's wrong, right? And when you understand that that's a blurred line when it comes to humanity and what people will do and won't do and what they need, I think you will truly get a grasp on how insane this really is. But I think it also hopefully grounds you enough to understand and appreciate the different aspects of humanity, and how with different people dealing with different sides of their humanity, and when that starts to fall, when that starts to break, how that either one will elevate them to do the right thing, or it will cause them to turn that other side of their brain off to just justify it. And it means justify the end, but yet there's a cost to everything that you do. And I think this movie does touch on that as well. It's a really, really good film. Well acted. I mean, acting is amazing. Even some of the shots, like some of the cinematography, there's some shots in this movie that I don't know how he got. This is one scene that takes place in the rain, and it's a very interesting transition, and you're kind of watching it from a very high vantage point, and that they still find a way of being able to connect with a different character while allowing you to feel how sick and messed up the situation is. But then you make a slight movement with the camera and it kind of feels funny. And those are the levels that I cannot touch. I could break it down for you guys, because even with the score, like the score opens you up to the idea of a nice thing is about to happen, or things are going to be okay. Then it goes and twists to be a small shift. And just like the wind, at any given moment, things can just drop. And I think that that is the identification of life. Like, he's using these different actors that are very versatile, whether it be comedy, whether it be humor, right? And then they go and switch to tragedy, then they switch to desperation, and they switch to violence. While at the same time, the shifts are changing when it comes to the environment. With the house is changing, and what happens around them, and how desperate their situation actually is. All these things are a revolving door, but that's also how life, it works itself. Like, time is always something that is never on anybody's side. And I think that this movie puts you in that case with no other choice, and literally no other choice for some of these circumstances. But this is a really good film. As hard as I can't recommend it to people, but it's also near perfect. This is 9.5 out of 10. This is a really good film. I just cannot recommend this to everybody. Decision to Leave, I think there was a really interesting gray area where I think there was also something very romantic and profound going on. And there's also some great levels of love and devotion in this film. Like, very strong connection, human connections, where you don't anticipate them from different people, not just one directional, but because it's different directions out of a very weird situation, it also feels very perverted at the same time. So yes, that's the best way I can kind of describe this film. Hope you guys did enjoy this review, and hopefully you guys have a chance to go and check it out. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace, everybody.